Welcome. On this channel, I do unscripted, unedited videos about Linux programming and stuff. If you're new here, you may want to check out video number 1. That kind of covers the format of the channel. And video number 23, which talks about the current project that I've been working on. In the previous couple of videos, I was working on getting some testing frameworks set up and some makefile stuff and some things like that. And in the previous video specifically, I kind of ended without a very clean solution to what I was chasing. And so that is the first thing that I'm going to approach right now. I did a little work on that off camera, something I usually try not to do, but it took me a while to stumble around for me to completely grok what I needed for this, and didn't need to do it all in front of camera. It would have taken too long. Let's just go to it and take a look. So what I was trying to do is, and then I'll probably follow up with some cleanup here because I just got this to work. What I was trying to do is, let's take a look. In the test folder, there are individual test files, and each of these has a main in it, right? So they're a completely independent test unit. What I wanted was to build every one of those into the bin folder. So let's start actually by, let's just do it, and then I'll show you the result. Make clean, make tests. So if we look in the bin folder, you can see that we converted the files that were in the test folder to the compiled test units, and of course, if we run them, we get a test. The thing that I couldn't get to work previously was I also wanted the executable, or the compilation, the dependency. I wanted to include the C and the header file that corresponded to the unit under test, and it wasn't working. So originally, if I would have ran make tests, we have them, and if I touch source, let's say config.h, of course what I want is when I make tests again, I want the config test to rebuild. Likewise, source game C should make the game test rebuild, right? And that wasn't working originally, and so I'll do a quick explain on that. So we don't have Vim running. I confused myself. And I mean, it ends up being incredibly straightforward and fairly obvious, and I'm just going to show, the last bit that I methodically walked through to finally to see it for myself, right? So to help visualize this a little bit, I'm going to output the, so we want to see all of the dependencies for the root tests. And you'll notice that the root tests target is a phony target. The only thing that you're trying to do here is to force the evaluation of the targets. And I want to try an experiment. Let's look at the targets first. It doesn't actually matter if it's clean because this is the phony target. So you can see, okay, so the target is just the name test, right? But what I wanted to show was what we, let's clear this. what I wanted to show was that what we're doing is we're doing a little pattern substitution in the dependency definition, and we're simply looking at all of the files that are in the test folder and converting them to what they would become inside of the bin folder. And then so there are 4 of them, so we end up with 4 dependencies that we get out of that. So this pattern substitution is simply saying, hey, give me all the test files in the test folder. I turn them into no matter what they are, I just move them. I match the pattern that starts with test and ends with .c, but replace test with bin and drop the .c. So that's what our dependencies are. Okay. Then you end up with this rule that is going to match those. So that dependency is bin something underscore test, and we have a rule for that target. And so that will end up getting evaluated. And once the first thing it'll do is it'll look at the dependencies for that target. In this case, we're saying, well, the dependency is the C file that corresponds to that particular bin file, and also the bin folder. And this is a GNU extension that basically says, well, yes, the bin folder is also a dependency, but you only have to run it one time. And so when it runs, it'll make that bin folder just one time, as opposed to every single time a dependency is resolved here. Okay, but now that we have this target, right? So now we know that this is a dependency for what goes in the bin folder, and it's coming from the test folder. And so I write a rule to figure out what its dependency is. Well, its dependencies are the corresponding C and H files in the source directory. I mean, this really couldn't be more obvious, but often I find that when I'm working with make and getting confused, it's because, like with the implicit rules, you're almost always working backwards, and sometimes it's very easy to think of it as a task-oriented thing where you're working forward, and I just get totally confused. And I think to kind of show this here, then what I'll do is I'll make clean, clear, make tests, right? And you can really see the whole thing happening now. Where do I get this? Unterminated string on 43. How do I? Oh, I must never have saved it. Again, make clean, make tests, right? And so you can see, here I was cleaning the first thing, the dependency the furthest down the tree. Actually, let's put a little debug stuff in here so we can see this a little better. So in this one, let's do and what we want to show is the dependencies coming in. So in this particular case, we really only care about, well, we can actually see this one, right? Because the GCC command is being executed. Actually, we should be able to see them all. There's nothing we can't see here, so there's nothing I have to show, but I'll demonstrate it. Make clean, clear, make. Okay, so I didn't want to run that target. So I didn't even realize I had the target. Somewhere I have phony. Oops, that ain't gonna work. There must be another. Why? How did that even run? Oh. What did I accidentally type? So, make clean, make tests, does what I expect, but make test, I don't know what I wrote, or what I typed. I'm going to go back here to what I was going to do, which is make clean, right? And so make test. We can see it. Hold it. Clear. Make tests. Make tests references the the group of files, right? And here we can see that the only thing we really execute in that whole chain is the GCC on the make test file. And if I run it again, right, nothing happens because they're all up to date. But if I touch source game C and then run make tests again, we'll see that the test, so it fell down all the way through the tests. It got to the one that says, test games underscore test is, hold it. It got to the one where it realized that source was, I got to show this. It got to here, and what I want to show that we're not seeing is okay, so it's just the normal run that's happening. I'm not sure why it's running multiple. Whatever the default target is currently must be. I'll look at it in a second here. Okay, so clear, make clean. We make the whole thing. See, I keep doing this, and clear, make clean, make tests. Okay, now I want to touch source game C, right, and make tests again. And what we can see is, we're getting it, we're getting the output of the echo command, but you can see that it found two. I guess the way that this ends up working is that if either one of the two dependencies is out of date, then the rule is ran with both dependencies, is how it appears to me. That's how I'm going to interpret it. Because, right, so if I run make tests again, clearly they're not going to be ran. If I touch source game H and run make tests, it's going to run. Now, when I'm actually doing the touch rule, I'm using the target as the variable that I'm, or the value that I'm passing to touch. So I'm actually just saying, hey, if either of these are out of date, let's just touch this, so it's also out of date. But to follow through with kind of what I was saying, it appears, the way I interpret this now, is that this rule has these dependencies, and if either of the dependencies are out of date, then the rule will be executed and pass the full list of I mean, the variables are always still the same. I wonder if you can get so make only only out of date dependencies. Makefile that recompiles only if the dependency is actually changed. this isn't, I don't think they're approaching what I want. They're like dealing with, yeah, I don't, my best guess is this is not something I would be able to Google real easy. But okay, so I'm still going to show this one more time just to be super, super clear. So make tests up to date. Touch game.c, oops, source game.c, game.c, make tests, and both values are passed in, so at least one of them is out of date. So we get both of them. How do I want to say this to myself? These are the dependencies of this, and at least one of them's out of date, so the rule is ran, and we get the full list of dependencies and can't really tell which one specifically was out of date. It's assuming that we need the full list of dependencies to fix it. In this case, we don't. We just need the target, which is kind of screwed up. But to again follow it through, right? So nothing happens. But if I touch the H file, we get the exact same behavior, not knowing which is out of date, but one of the dependencies is clearly out of date. And we have what we want. So I'm going to clean this up a bit. And the one last piece to this is, and I may rename it, but I have a phony test target. And all it does is have the same set of dependencies. So it's always trying to evaluate these dependencies, and instead of actually, what it's going to do is it's actually going to run the test for each of those. But while I was debugging this, I wanted it to, that's not right. That's all I wanted to get rid of. So make test actually runs all of the tests that are in the bin folder. For now, I am going to change that, make run tests. So and then make tests, right? So nothing to do, but if I touch anything anywhere, including in the test folder, right? And likewise, if I make clean, and now just run, actually try to execute the tests. What happened? Oh, I changed the name of it to run tests. There we go. So everything works. I think I'm just going to call this video, it'll be a short one. What I will probably do is, I'm going to move this to the top here. So my intention is that we'll end up with something like this. So I'll have make, which just makes the normal default instrumented target that we would test locally, that we would run locally. Debug is actually going to execute GDB, run the program in GDB, make the tests. That's what we just had. Make run tests. Is to execute the tests, make release unoptimized, make run, maybe the easy way is to do this, run test, run release. I don't know, I'm still figuring out what I want. Eventually I'll figure out exactly what I want, but I am happy with the being able to build the tests the way that I wanted to and have the dependencies correct. I'm going to put a little bit of, so just going to nah. I was trying to decide if I wanted to separate it out a little bit right now, or you know, I wanted to make sure I spent too much time on it. I'll actually understand it. Whether I didn't want some of these pieces to get lost as to why they're there. They are the dependency chain for tests. Okay. Mostly, I just wanted to catch the channel up on what I had done off camera. Now I have a much better running test suite that I will be able to start to develop. Anyway, see you in the next video.